What was your overall impression of the book Miracle of Freedom?
Well, thanks so much. When I first started reading the book Miracle of Freedom, I didn't really know what to expect. But after reading the first chapter, I really felt that I could resonate with what you were sharing and teaching. And it made me really excited for what was to come. So I think overall, my impression of the book was that it really helped me personally to step into my own and really see how I do have a lot of control over many different facets of my life. Particularly when you spoke about the impoverished environment versus the enriched environment, I think that was the chapter a little later on that really spoke to me. And I actually had to put the book down just because it really brought up a lot inside of me because I felt like with my life journey and where it was coming from and where I currently am, the way that you share things in the book is easy to understand, but it's also super relatable. And so I just felt like I was able to really own harder aspects of things that I've gone through in my life and maybe a mindset of scarcity that I had developed over time and be able to shift it and look at it differently. So I think the book is rightfully titled Miracle of Freedom because there were a lot of points where I felt like I was freeing myself along the way of different versions of me that I didn't really resonate with anymore. I think day to day, I'm able to meet life challenges head on, but from a place of love versus a place of fear or feeling like I need to prove something. Because one of the things that came up for me when reading the book was that the impoverished environment that I had come from really created this thought pattern of not really feeling worthy of things. And so I wouldn't always take the shots or opportunities that were placed in front of me. A lot of time I didn't even have the capacity to recognize them as opportunities. And I think now, instead of thinking I can't do something or using my past as a reason to deem myself as unqualified, I see myself as more empowered. I trust myself a lot more. And so I think with that level of freedom, I meet different life happenings differently with a lot more authority and honestly love is like the best word to use because I'm open.
Beautiful.
Part of the book was you ask us to do a visualization. I think I call it like movie mind. I'm not sure if those were your exact words, but that was a meditation practice that I started doing daily and I still do it today up until this morning. And two things that had happened from that exercise is that when I first sat down to really consider an event that I wanted to have happen in my life, it was actually to see my younger brother because we live in two different states. So he lives in New York, I live in Vegas. So we're about 2,000 plus miles away from each other. And he hasn't visited the West Coast, but it's something that we've always talked about. And so that organically kind of came up when I was doing that meditation practice. And literally, probably 2 or 3 weeks later, I get a call from him around the time of my birthday. And he mentioned that he is actually coming to visit me in Vegas to celebrate my birthday with me. And I didn't catch it at first. I was just super excited on the call because I already have birthday plans. So since I knew he was coming, I was kind of like rearranging things to make it all fit. And then it wasn't until we hung up the phone and I just did a whole bunch of life stuff that I was like, wait a minute, like I actually saw this happening in the mind map meditation that you taught us in the book, which was incredible. And then the second part to that was I have a webinar coming up for work, and it's one of my first times actually being on stage because I do a lot of behind the scene things. And so that's something that I'm actively doing right now. My meditation is just kind of picturing how that's going to go and seeing myself being successful in that scenario versus letting my saboteur mind kind of, get me caught up on what could go wrong. And one of the things that you ask us to do is be as specific and as detailed as we can be. And so something small that I included was just wearing a pair of gold earrings that I really wanted. And when my brother came to visit, one of the things that he gifted me for my birthday was the exact pair of gold earrings that I wanted. And so I just thought to myself, that part, I did catch it in real time. And I thought, wow, I have been picturing that in my mind. So I would just say, like, this stuff really does work. I don't know if it's a one-off situation for me, but I do think if you come into this experience open-minded and actually sit down and do the work, which doesn't even feel like work because it's super easy, then it's very likely you'll see results like that. So it was two small instances that I could connect to the book. And I just thought that was incredible. It gave me goosebumps at the time, because it was like something that I read became a lived experience.
That's amazing. Let me ask you this. Was this a hard read, an easy read, a casual read? How would you describe it as a read?
That's a great question. And I would have to say it was a pretty easy read. I think it's easy just in terms of being able to understand what you share with us. I think the part that may require more bravery on the part of the reader is actually doing the work. Because some stuff will come up, especially when you're thinking about the environments. At least for me, it did. A lot of things came up, and I did kind of have to put the book down, not for like days, just for a moment to really, absorb what I was reading, how it related to me, and decide what I wanted to do about it. But overall, there was no point in the book where I felt like I didn't understand what I was reading or something didn't make sense. You have a great ability of telling stories. You also have great humor. So for anyone who likes, books written by people who kind of have this down to earth aura, this is like a very calm, easy read with a lot of deep insights that are available if you continue to show up for it.
Would you recommend the book? And secondly, if you would, who would you recommend it to?
That's a really great question. So I'd say I've already recommended the book. So my sister is going away on deployment in 2 months. And so I'm hoping to have a copy for her so that she can take it with her. And I've also recommended it to my partner who is now starting to immerse himself in this kind of inner work. I would say, in terms of who it's good for, I'd have to say, considering that freedom is a basic human need, I think everyone should read this book, just considering how easy it is to read. And I think for me personally, just working through a period of stuckness and really kind of rewiring my perception and making shifts, it was really beneficial for me, as somebody who's in that space, and I'm working through that to be in a better space. But I do think even if life is going great for you and you're already familiar with this stuff, this is kind of like a getting back to the basics book where it's complementary to anything else you may be learning or be immersed in right now. So I don't know who doesn't want more freedom in life. So if that's what you want, then this is a great starting point for you.